On October 7th, 2023, a pogrom on Jewish soil happened, as you all know. This is of historic proportions, and I'll tell you why. Jews were attacked many, many times. Pogroms happened throughout history for thousands of years. But this time is very different. Jews were always perceived as feeble and weak. Hence, terrorists took advantage of the situation and made pogroms against the Jews in Ukraine, in Russia, in Poland, in France, in England, in the Arab countries, everywhere. It has happened for hundreds of years. It is the first time in history that the Jews are not feeble and weak. It is the first time in history that Jews have a way to defend themselves. It is the first time in history that Jews are strong. When Jews are strong and could defend themselves, it's a very different picture. It's a very different picture. Which means that when Jews defend themselves this time, they don't defend themselves only about the last pogrom of October 7th, but about all the pogroms that happened worldwide in history. Because now, God put us in a situation that is very different than before. We're able to defend ourselves. Can you imagine World War II if we had a land and we had an army? Can you imagine the Crusades if we were not vulnerable and we had a way to defend ourselves? Can you imagine the Inquisition if we had a strong ship in the world? Can you imagine? The picture would have been very different and the results would have been very different. God put us today in a very different situation than we used to be. We're strong, we're not weak. And this is the moment to take revenge for everything that happened before. In this week's parasha, Parshat Vayishlach, Yaakov Avinu considers two possibilities of how to face his brother Esav. Rashi tells us he was going to pray tefillah for sure, but then Doron or Milchama. Either basically trying to appease his brother with Doron, which means presents and gifts. I would call this the diplomatic area. Or Milchama, it's war. Yaakov is Ishtam Yoshev Oalim. Akev is the heel. He's sitting in the Bet Midrash and he's studying. He could give the impression that there is some kind of weakness and vulnerability. But in that parasha, Parashat Vayishlach, he's faced with Saroshel Esav, with the Ish, the person that we don't know who he is, and fought with him during the night. And God at the end of the fight calls him Israel. He says, you're not Yaakov, you are Israel now. He's going to keep his name Yaakov, but now he becomes a historic figure, Israel. And Israel means Kisarita, because you're a fighter, because you have a struggle and you have to fight for survival. And we're not called Bnei Yaakov, we're called Bnei Israel, because in order to exist and survive, we need that aspect of Israel. The Hamas made a huge mistake. It touched the side of Israel, and Israel is strong. Hashem should give siyata dishmaya to the soldiers to be able to do their job, to get rid of Hamas completely. Be'ezrat Hashem b'mekabel b'nei Mashiach tidkenu. Amen.